And good day, creators. This is Katz. How you guys doing today? So welcome back to one of my curiosity creations, and today we have a brand new batch of the installation clay. We have some bowls from the dollar store that I have set out, also from just recycling. I also have a rolling pin so we can roll out our clay. I have some tops that are off of my husband's shaving cream containers that we're going to use for little teacups. These are the little bowls. I was hoping for a set of 4, but I got only a set of 3, but hey, I'm not worried about that. These little guys right here, they come in like a pack of 8, I think, a pack of 4, a pack of 8. But you can find all this at the dollar store. And then everyday saran wrap, and you're going to put this around each of your items, and that's what we're going to do for our prep. And then you're going to want an everyday type of sponge, paper towels, anything like that if you need to get the area a little wet. You can also just use your fingers with everyday water. I do boil my water first, and I just like to do that so that I know that there's no extra anything in the clay. Because we go through measures to make it so it lasts as long as we can. So first off, you want to get as much clay that you're going to be using in small doses. Do remember that this is air drying, so as we have it out now, it's drying on its own. But you want to work your clay to get it, nice. Like any clay, you're going to want to get it worked and nice and warm. So we're going to go ahead and do that first. We're going to try to use as much as we can. It's actually going to be pretty fun. I can't wait to do this. But first we're going to prep our items. We're going to go ahead and use the saran wrap. We're going to wrap our items like you would maybe a Christmas present. But anywhere that you're actually going to use it, that's just so it's easier to apply and lift off. Because this clay will shrink while it's drying. So you want to be able to remove it and it doesn't stick on the items that you're using. Because you want to reuse them, of course. That'd be the cool part. Okay, so what we're going to do is go ahead and prep our items, and I'll see you guys back in the next clip. And welcome back, guys. So we have all of our prep work done. We have our clay. I have them in sets of bowls right now. We have our water. I went ahead and did these bowls for the inside. So, oops, it's not supposed to come off. But for the inside, so we're going to see how that's going to work with pushing that down with our fingers. We have all of the teeny guys here that we're going to try to go over the top. Later on, I'm going to try to do the insides and see how that works with it. It does, all of these though have tips, little ridges, so that's going to be actually the inside of your bowls. You want to watch out for that, anything you use as bowls. Just like all of these little fine lines here, that's going to show up as well for the inside of your item. But I also have these wrapped. I did decide not to wrap up the microwavable bowls just because those had too many ridges, too many sections in those. But I might try those later on. We'll see. We'll all see. So just go ahead and grab your clay. Like I said, this has already been worked on and warmed up. You can either leave your surface dry, or you can damp it a little bit. Same thing with your rolling pin. You want to give yourself a little bit of room to work. Oh, that's why I use these trash bags, people, because I make a mess. And just a light water coat onto your rolling pin here. And that's just so nothing sticks. And then go ahead and roll out, not a thick coat, but at least, it depends on what you're trying to cover. For something like this, you really would like to start with the thicker, about a thickness of, give or take, that much. I can't tell you how big that is for this, but this much would be a great start for this. So I'm just going to work this up just a little bit. Okay, and then what you're going to do with this, what I like to do is just roll it up into a ball and then slowly work my way back and forth on even strokes. As you can see, it had a little bit too much water, so that's why we're pulling it up here. You can just go ahead and rub your hand around that and push this little guy right back into spot. Now if it does get stuck onto the rolling pin, don't worry about that. Just roll with it. You can also roll it that way and get a pretty even layer. My clay is actually pretty moist still compared to what I would prefer it to. But I think I like that thickness. Now a lot of people do this in different ways. Some like to make shapes and then use the actual inside of the shape for the outside and mold it that way. Some people like to make, right now what I want to try to do is just to see how much clay I need to cover one of these, so we know how much we're going to need for all of our little guys here. So that's why I just wanted one whole piece. I'm going to try to get this up as one piece as I can, but that's okay. Clean up our mess a little bit as I throw it at myself. So go ahead and get your guy. Now you can either do, remember this side is going to, whatever side is down is going to be the inside of your clay, anything side up is going to be the outside. So if any of the tips and the ridges, any type of writing or anything like that on your mold, you want to pay attention to that because that will show. Any type of creases or bumps, all of that will also show. So just anything, I'm not sure if you see that, that's why I'm using another, I'm using these here so that I can see through and kind of find all my little spots that I need to cover up with more clay. Plus you find them at the dollar store for like 4 or 8 pack. I'm trying to keep the same pressure on all of these spots so I know that it has the same amount of clay, and I'm just pushing it, kind of the bowl down at the same time pushing the clay up, so I don't have a whole bunch of excess on the bottom that we're going to have to clean up. And as you can see, we're going to have to add some, of course, on the bottom on some of these corners. I'm just pinching it and pulling it down, making sure I'm not, pull that up. Now what you can also do is just, since it's all saran wrap, just kind of fold it under to get all that excess off. I'm going to clean up the edges very much more than I am doing at this point, but I just want to get an even layer. we have a clean bowl still. Because along with this back edge here, I need to fill in just right there. So you just take a bunch of your clay, get it all worked up. Spots like this, you can see through it. So I want to make sure I get some more clay into that. That's probably a little bit more than I should have grabbed, but that's okay. Because we can just take it off and move it around. Pinch off anything you don't need. See, this is already coming off the saran wrap. Do remember this will shrink while it dries. That is one of the reasons why you use the saran wrap. Yeah, so this is a brand new batch. I just made it up last night. You will find the recipe down below. This is with the insulated clay. I just brought my pair of scissors over and I'm just kind of pinching off the sides here. I want to get as clean edge as I can, you know. Also do it that way, I guess. Definitely. As you can see, I hope you can see that little edge there, how it's like super thicker than that. So that's all I'm doing is just pinching off the edges. It's okay if these edges are a little thinner than the rest. But right there, yeah, that's a little bit too thin for my taste. So I'm just working the clay, the excess clay, over into this spot now. Once again, just pushing up the clay. We're also rolling out the bottom because you do want to make sure it is stable still. So easy to apply. I mean, that was perfect. Little spots. Okay guys, so that is the little one. Oop, that's two. So one little guy shaped like this. You can also, if you like, kind of even it out that way, but that is super too big, so don't do that. And now you can fix it up, you can design it any way you like. I'm just going to leave the first one as is. And we're just going to go ahead and sand that and paint it later on once it dries. So we're going to go ahead and try our bigger bowls next. Okay, so we've got our next set of clay. Get it a little bit warmed up. We're going to go ahead and try this bowl here. We're going to do the inside. So that is going to be a lot different because we're going to have to actually use our hands to mush it in there. If you have any type of porter or mistle, you can use that. You can do that. If you have any of those little eggs, you can use those. But I'm just going to go ahead and roll this out to at least a flatness that I hope will suffice. So you don't have to add too much. Seems pretty even, but it's coming up. Okay guys, so we did roll it out. It's at a thickness that I like, what I would like to try in here, but it's breaking really easily because it's so heavy. That's another thing you want to pay attention with, is this is actually pretty heavy. It dries really light, but if you're trying to get pieces like that, you're not going to get that with this clay. But as you can see, that actually just folded right in there nicely. I'm just pushing my fingers onto the edges. And since these do have a super lip, it's easy to have it on its side. I hope you guys can see that. So that's going to be a little bit nice to have while we're working with this. So once again, this time I'm just going to flatten out with my hands and add an extra layer, just smushing those guys into each other. We'll get that side in a second. Try to keep as much of the first rollout as possible. See how easy that is? The big old bubbles just perfectly gone. Now we have some sides going. If you get pieces like this, just go ahead and pull those out. This is, like I said, you're going to find little pieces like this. If you want, you can keep it in there for your own little textures, but right now I'm not going for that. And all I'm doing, like I said before, is just pushing this in with my thumb. No lines, no cracks, nothing like that. And just pushing it up, trying to keep everything into the same thickness. Hey guys, if you got it, why not, right? As long as I'm not getting the saran wrap, why not? Still has extra, but that's fine. Alright, so now what you guys can do with these bowls here is you can make a lip or not. I'm actually going to attempt to keep the lip. So that's what I will do with these ones here. With this one, with the smaller ones, I'm not going to keep a lip, but these have such a nice hold to them. I kind of want to keep that. So let's go ahead and start doing those edges. Now this is where you want to pay attention to if something's too thin or too thick. It's not liking me when I try to turn it that way. So let's try a little bit of less. Less is more, people. Less is more sometimes. So just pinch off those edges, make sure that it's all staying together. And any lines or cracks that you see, that you're just kind of working those into each other. You can do that also with the water at the end. Pinching those, get those kind of worked into the same thickness. Remember, it's up to you. You decide what thickness you would like this. Just remember, the thicker it gets, the longer you're going to need to have it dry. And that will also depend on the time of year, the time and place you keep your items, how much moisture was in the product in the first place. It all differs. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to have enough for all of the sides. So let's go ahead and go around one more time. See what we can even out and work over. It's not much, but we only have this much red to cover. And I can always pull from another ball too. Don't ever worry about picking up your items and touching them. That's how you can just find those little things. Yes, you might mess it up a little bit, but you know, you can always fix it. the red, which is perfectly fine. The edges look nice. So that is going to be our next one. I'm not going to flip it upside down, so we're just going to let that dry as is. Okay guys, so we have 2 bowls set. I did try to do these guys, but they really didn't stay on at all for myself. I will have to try more later on. But I wanted to show you these for our end results. I'm going to do the rest of the bowls later on, but I wanted to give you guys just an idea on how this looks so far. That's a pretty cute bowl. It does sit up. If you want, you can always round it out as it's drying. The same thing with this bowl here. This is how the inside looks. And this is still wet. The edges will need to be cleaned up, but I'm going to wait until it's a little bit more dry before I sand it. Because that's the great part about this. We're not going to do any edging. We're not going to do anything like that for this round. But I think these turned out really nice for just our little dollar store plates and bowls. So definitely check back once these are dry, and I'll see you guys in the next clip. And we are done with all 6 of the bowls. 3 of the smalls and 3 of the red bowls. And so I'm going to let them sit overnight for about 12 hours, and we're going to check it then. I'll see you guys in the next